So 2D in modern Sonic games, should it be there? Should it be avoided completely? Let's talk about it. So this has been a topic that's been in my mind for quite a while now. I've been talking about it on Twitter and everything like that. Is 2D an acceptable place to put in a modern Sonic game? That doesn't even make sense. Is 2D an acceptable thing to put in a modern Sonic game? I would say maybe, but it depends how it's done. But let's talk about it. So 2D has been a staple for modern Sonic now since Sonic Unleashed, when they decided, you know what Sonic the Hedgehog needs after Sonic 06, the big train wreck. It needs 2D to harken back to the classic Sonic game, so we'll add 2D to appeal to those fans. And in hindsight, I guess that can sort of work, but in execution, can it? Because the 2D in Sonic Unleashed, like core proper 2D in that game, would only make up around maybe 20% of the entire gameplay, including the Hedgehog and modern Sonic. So if you're a classic Sonic fan and you're playing for classic Sonic gameplay or 2D gameplay, are you really going to play Sonic Unleashed, a game that is primarily 3D? Probably not, and I think Sega knew this by making Sonic Colors a very, very 2D heavy game. I would say at least 70% of that game is 2D, so that can fill for the classic Sonic fans, but I know a lot of people, including myself, really do not like it when they do shove in the 2D, especially when there's a reason, like no reason to do it. For example, Sonic Generations is the example everyone uses. Classic Sonic is 2D, modern Sonic should have been entirely 3D, but instead they added 2D to the 3D modern Sonic levels, which seems a bit jarring considering we've got an entire gameplay style that is focused entirely on the 2D gameplay for the classic Sonic fans to feast on, to enjoy. So in that aspect, in that regard, I get it. I would not want it either. I would avoid it completely. If it's a game that is only modern Sonic, then I don't entirely mind the 2D. The thing I care about the 2D is if it's good 2D. Now, what do I mean by good 2D? I mean Sonic Unleashed, I think, had very good 2D. It kept up the flow of the levels. Same with Sonic Generations as well, I feel. Where it goes bad, in my opinion, is when you Sonic Colorsify it. What I mean by that is, you just turn the level into this blocky mess of just simple platforming and nothing else. It's just the core, jump on blocks, jump on moving blocks to go forwards. It doesn't feel inventive or creative and keep up the speed of the level. It's like, here's the 3D sections, these are fast. Here are the 2D sections, these are slow and platform heavy. It should be a balance. It should be flowing with the level well to not slow you down and have a bunch of alternate routes to go through. I think that's when 2D can be very good in Sonic games, because you don't have to worry about the 3D, so you can actually build these really inventive 2D environments. Because people love games like Sonic Rush, right? Sonic Rush is an entire 2D boost Sonic game. Do we hear people complaining about that? No, because people really like the game, because they really like the 2D level design of the game. So I think the main issue with the 2D comes down to the level design and just how much usage it gets, because I honestly believe 3D is way more ambitious and there's way more possibilities with 3D. My voice is actually dying, I'm so sorry. There's way more possibilities with the 3D gameplay than there is with the 2D gameplay. So I think having the 2D there is just limiting what you can do with your game. But if you want to use it to complement a level, go ahead. Now, Sonic Colors, I mentioned this was an issue before. The almost whole game is 2D, which leaves out a lot of place for creativity, and that is where complaints come in. I understand them completely. Sonic Unleashed, though, there's not that much 2D, and it can be really fun 2D, which can provide things that you could not do in 3D, like those massive alternate routes. Stuff like that is things you just maybe can't achieve in 3D, so I understand it completely. And Sonic Forces, for example, that is another game that uses 2D, I think, way too much. It feels like they use 2D in that game to save up on space on making the levels, rather than using it to complement the gameplay of the 3D-ness. Because in that game, you've got the Custom Hero, Modern Sonic, and Classic Sonic. Classic Sonic is entirely 2D, Custom Hero has 2D and 3D, and Modern Sonic has 2D and 3D, so it's like, what? Why? Why is it entirely 2D? Especially when that game came out in the same year as Sonic Mania, the game aiming for the classic Sonic fans. You should not be aiming for the classic Sonic fans again with all the 2D in a modern Sonic game. Now, sure, put classic Sonic in there, go ahead, but then don't shove the 3D and the other characters. I just don't think that makes sense. It makes the games feel way less ambitious. And I just, honestly, I can't understand the mindset of putting the 2D in the other gameplay styles other than to save on time. Save on time on building the levels. Whereas like in games such as like Generations and Unleashed, I don't see them using 2D in those games to save up on time making the levels. I feel like they're actually trying to use the 2D for their advantage rather than to nostalgia pander to the classic Sonic fans. That is how I feel about the 2D. So what do you guys think? Do you think 2D needs to be in here? Do you think 2D should just go away forever? Because every Sonic game, right? Every Sonic game has had an aspect of 2D. If the gameplay wasn't literally restricted to only 2D movement, every game has had an aspect of 2D. Sonic Adventure had Skydeck, which had definite 2D-ish sections. Sonic Heroes definitely had 2D-ish sections. The Hedgehog from Sonic Unleashed has 2D-ish sections. You still have 3D movement technically, but you are only moving from left to right. So even though they're not fully, literally 3D, or 2D I mean, they're still basically 2D. I know that might sound a bit confusing, but I hope you know what I mean by that. So every Sonic game has had an element of 2D-ness, trying to go back to the classics, what made the classic Sonic games so good in the first place. But I think Sega's got the wrong mindset with that. It wasn't the 2D, it was the gameplay that complemented the level design, which is why I think Sonic Generations is such a masterpiece, because the level design in that game is just absolutely phenomenal, out of this world. I know I love talking about Generations on this channel, but it's a masterpiece. I think it's absolutely by far one of the best Sonic games Sega have ever created, and Sonic Forces just emphasizes that so much, because Sonic Forces is just an absolute bleh, just bleh. Well, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm sticking my tongue out, bleh. That is what it is. So, okay, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent there. I really don't have anything else to add. I can't believe it, guys. I might not make it to 10 minutes this time. That's a shame. If only there was a way I could add to the 10 minutes. You know what? Let's add let's add to the 10 minutes, since you guys love the 10-minute marker so much. So, a fan made a design for Sonic the Hedgehog for the movie, and here it is. I don't know who it is by, but I'll put them in the description. I can't remember. I'm really sorry, artist, if you're watching this. You will be in the description. It's a realistic looking Sonic the Hedgehog, but it kind of looks like what the design would actually look like if it's fully revealed, because obviously so far all we've gotten is the black outline, and we can see his absolutely muscular to hell legs and his really weird massive head. But this design right here looks like something I could see passing off as okay. Now, okay is not great, it is not amazing, and I still think it misses the mark on what Sonic the Hedgehog is and his attitude and everything like that, but it's passable. It's not like I look at it and it's like, oh my god, that is an absolutely monstrosity, hideous creature. I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, you know what, I'll accept it. I mean, if I'm showing a friend Sonic the Hedgehog, I would never show them this in a million years, because this looks absolutely disgusting. But as its own thing, by the way, I'm not saying disgusting in terms of the artist making it, I mean disgusting in terms of Paramount Pictures redesigning Sonic the Hedgehog, so please don't flip my words. I would never show the new Sonic movie to anyone that I wanted to get into Sonic. It's like, ooh, let's get into Sonic. What should we start with? Not the movie, because look at it, it's an absolute monstrosity. Start with anything but the movie. I would literally start them with Sonic Boom before the movie. I would start them with, you know what, I'd start with Generations, I don't care. I know it's like one of the best Sonic games, but that's what I would get them into first, because then they get to see all of the levels, and then they can go back and play where the levels were from, and that would be quite badass. That's everything I've got to say. Thank you all for watching, my dudes. I think I'm gonna make it to my 10 minutes, so if you love 10-minute videos, here you go. Have at it. It's pretty tasty for me. I'm joking, by the way, guys. Basically, when I make videos, they take a while to make, and if I can get just a bit over to 10 minutes, I'm going to do so, because it benefits me a lot. And I know that might sound scummy, but it's like I put a lot of time to these videos. It's like I might as well profit a bit more from that. That might sound scummy, but it's just the hard truth. I'm so sorry. With all that said, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think of 2D in the comment section below. Should it belong in modern Sonic games? Should it be stuck out forever? Never add it again? Let me know. Thank you all for watching, and peace out, my dudes.